Good morning, kids. Today we're checking out a brand new video from the Food Theater about how Coca-Cola may disappear forever. Well, let's hop in and see what's going on to Matt Pat's favorite drink. Well, technically that's Diet Coke, but still.
Today is a sad day, dearest friends. Today, we're talking about the extinction of the polar bears. No, not those polar bears. These polar bears. They will no longer have anything to drink or even be able to complete their snowmen by littering in the Arctic because Coca-Cola might not be around for very much longer. You heard me right. These poor bears are losing their only source of carbonated refreshment and... Wait, oh no, I didn't even think about Matt's Diet Coke. Hold on. I gotta check on him.
Matt? Hey, Matt, you doing all right, buddy? No, your
Matt?
tears are not going to taste like Diet Coke.
Hello,
Oh, boy.
Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that goes down smooth but does make you a little burpy later. Really? I can't believe we approved that line. Yes, hi, hello, it's head editor Dan again. Matt
Hey,
lost
Dan.
his voice at VidCon and we still can't find it in the Lost and Found, so you got me this week! Isn't that exciting? Today we're talking about
cool.
pop, soda, soft drinks, fizzy drinks, cola, or whatever it is you call it. Even if you call every type of soda Coke, the drink is almost synonymous with American cuisine. Today, as we speak, 63% of Americans have a sugary drink every day. And while the number is still high, it's been on its way down for quite some time as more and more people turn away from high sugar beverages. Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, the two biggest names in the soft drink game, have spent big marketing bucks to stay at the forefront, even with a public that is becoming increasingly health conscious and sometimes looking for less Coke and more kombucha as their afternoon pick-me-up. That said, the soft drink companies are some of the smartest marketers on the planet, and when they see big movements towards less sugar in people's lives, they know they need to adapt or be left behind like the beverage companies of the past. Ever heard of a new icy soda company? Tropical Delight? Knee-high soda company that advertised using a woman's legs where you could see knee-high? Get it?
Oh,
yeah,
I get it.
So. They're all goners because they didn't do what it took to stay in the game. And you could definitely bet that Coke's not looking to join their ranks. So what do they plan to do about it? They plan to replace themselves with themselves. No, really, it's kind of genius, and I'll show you how they're doing it. To understand Coke's strategy, it helps to understand the state of the sugary soda union out there. The possible death of the original Coca-Cola would be no joke, but right now it doesn't look like they're in bad shape. Sodas make up 65% of sugary drink sales, which also includes fruit drinks, sweetened teas, coffees, still not a soup, and energy drinks. But since 2004, the consumption of soft drinks per person fell from 47.5 gallons to 42.9 gallons, roughly a 10% decrease. Sales of sugary sodas have also been on a steady decline after peaking in the early 2000s, which is when diet programs like the Atkins diet and low-carb movement really took hold. They replaced fat with sugar as public enemy number one in weight loss, and organizations like the American Heart Association also started to release guidelines on sugar consumption for children, which quickly made it clear that 40% of children's bodies were basically just marshmallows and we really needed to cut it out. So soda went on a no-no list for young kids as well. Overall, the decline in sugary drink consumption is slow, but more striking for kids who are future customers not getting hooked early like many of the companies would like them to.
Look at that.
So what do you do when sugary drinks become a no-no? Well, if you've been a fan of the channel for a minute, you know that Matt has an unhealthy relationship with Diet Coke, so he personally would suggest that.
I'm pretty sure at this point the guy bathes in it every night and morning.
But for Coca-Cola, there are issues with that suggestion. The big problem with just trying to switch everyone from Coke to Diet Coke is that Diet Coke is almost too successful for that. That sounds crazy, but think about this. A 2021 article that looked at the 10 best-selling sodas in America listed number 1 and number 2 spots at both being Coke, namely Coke as number 1 and Diet Coke as number 2 respectively.
Damn,
that means if you just
impressive.
drop Coke and try to shift everyone to Diet Coke, you actually lose the number 1 spot. You lose that 1-2 punch of being the top 2 brands, and potentially you lose a bunch of your market share. Rankings like those show that Diet Coke is clearly different from regular Coke in people's minds because they each have huge and different parts of the soda market. Something about the way Coke tastes, some health aspect, heck, how cool people feel when they hold the bottle. Whatever it is, something is different in people's minds between Coke and Diet Coke. So Coke has to find a way to replace itself with something that gives people the magic that Coke gives gives them, not just push them to diet. So, what's a beverage mega corporation to do? Well, they have a plan, and it involves some familiar moves in the soda playbook. If you remember back to our new Pepsi branding episode, which if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But in that episode, we talked about how Pepsi is constantly changing its branding to appeal to a younger demographic, so they can be the soda of the hip new generation, whatever that next generation is. We talked about how they were doing that using subtle changes to their logo, including the use of black, to more closely associate Pepsi with zero-calorie versions of the drink. At the time, we noted that Coca-Cola had a different strategy, since they're the company that has been very slow to change their classic branding over the years. Coca's always been the stalwart mainstay of the soda world.
Like, look at
that. In a bizarre twist, it seems like these two titans of carbonation might be on the same wavelength, but instead of pulling a Pepsi by coming out blazing with all new logos and branding, Coke's strategy is that they would rather you not notice a thing. Take a look at this, the new branding of Coke Zero as of 2021. Here's a bottle of regular Coke next to it. Notice anything similar? Like the whole bottle? Turns out,
I mean, everything is pretty much similar, but the only difference is that the Coca-Cola's in black and the lid is, instead of red, is black. Other than that, almost the exact same.
Instead of turning Coke Zero into its own hero brand like Diet Coke and making it stand out on its own, Coke has been subtly working for years to make these two brands nigh on indistinguishable. This effort started back in 2017 when Coke wanted to convince more people to switch over to Coke Zero, seeing that early downturn in sugary soda drinking. At that time, Coke released a statement on the 2017 branding, where their CEO, James Quincey, mentioned Coke's new one-brand strategy that aimed to make people think of Coke as one united brand, not as all the separate Cokes like Diet and Coke Life or whatever else was floating around. Like the Dream World Coke was fun. So they rebranded Coke Zero as Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, which is what it's called today, subtly reinforcing that this is the original Coke, just without the sugar. They brought the taste closer to the original and started to slowly do away with the completely black label. Instead, Coke brought in classic Coca-Cola Red, and the evolution began. We reached our final form of Coca-Cola Zero Sugar in 2021 as the definitive version after Coke again tweaked the formula, bringing it even closer to the original taste.
Oop. Hold on, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back.
At this point, Coke's same CEO highlighted that Coke Zero was now the biggest source of growth for the company in 2021. It even grew in 2020 during the pandemic, and he stated that it would also be the biggest growth driver for the foreseeable future. It was then that Coke Zero completely did away with the black branding, except for the text, making it identical to regular Coke, with the exception being the zero sugar below the Coca-Cola name. Now, the result is a soda that looks like Coke, reminds you it's Coke on the bottle, and tastes very similar to the original. Could you accidentally pick one up instead of a regular Coke and barely know the difference? That certainly seems to be the hope for the future of the Coca-Cola company, and personally may or may not have worked on me. That said, there's even more to this brand makeover than a little zero sugar camouflage.
I kind of like the black label more.
It's actually a play at a whole new generation of soda drinkers, the specific ones in our graph at the beginning of the episode, who are declining big time when it comes to sugary soda buying. Young people, kids, not me. Like Pepsi in our previous episode, Coke recognizes that Gen Z requires a little bit of a different marketing approach, and some of the previous tactics just don't resonate with this group. Originally, Coke Zero had no intention of being a young person's drink specifically. Instead, it was going to be for a totally different demographic. Dude bros, the guys, the boys. That's right, after years of Diet Coke being perceived as a women's drink, because, you know, losing weight and dieting, I guess, is just a little too girly, I suppose. Zero was supposed to be a manly drink for manly men. To really crystallize who this was marketed to, take a look at this commercial from around the launch in 2005.
From the makers of Coca-Cola Zero comes a taste of life as it should be.
What? The absolute...
Whipped cream or chocolate sauce?
Both.
Oh.
Taste zero sugar.
As a man, I think I'm supposed to resonate with the lady in a motorcycle helmet getting vanilla and chocolate sauce poured on her. But what really got me is the guy getting airlifted in a helicopter while the convenience store he was just in explodes with his ex and her new boyfriend in it. Ripperonis. The lore implications are incredibly dark, but then again, I'm a man and I'm distracted by the manliness and also by the snakes. But not for what you think, I just want to boop every one of their snoots. People love this when Coke Zero launched in 2005. It became Coke's most successful launch since Diet Coke itself, which maybe says less about soda and more about men. Point being, contrast this approach to marketing with Gen Z. Not excited about gender stereotypes, cares about fossil fuel destroying the environment, cares about animal rights, prefers electric vehicles. I guess the chocolate sauce is okay. But wait, I guess they're more conscious of their sugar consumption according to it. Buzz it! So clearly, to reach a new generation, Coke Zero needed to do some growing up of its own. What about Diet Coke? Can't Gen Z just drink that? Well, sure, but they're also statistically not as content to settle for Diet Coke because diet as a word has fallen out of fashion with millennials and Gen Zers. According to a 2021 study, the diet designation is often associated with strict regimens or deprivation, whereas zero has fewer negative connotations, implying a cleaner profile. Gen Z does historically respond to things that are marketed as clean, like chocolate, energy drinks, granola bars, and the like. The clean eating movement, whether it's actually cleaner than other movements before it, has the young people's number, and now so does Coke Zero. Going forward, we already see evidence of Coca-Cola trying to get zero sugar to eclipse its main brand and be the first version of Coke young people reach for. Case in point, Coke's newest product launch as part of their Coca-Cola Creations lines, Coca-Cola Ultimate. In case you have no idea what I'm talking about, the background here is that Coke has been releasing specific limited edition flavors over the last year and a half as part of special promotions that appeal to, you guessed it, young people. The line of special flavors are called the Coca-Cola Creations, and they're specifically designed to appeal to Gen Z because they partner with brands that Gen Z theoretically likes, creating new and unique, usually uniquely bad flavors of soda. They've collaborated with Samsung, Marshmallow, Rosalia to create new soda flavors and have dabbled in augmented reality, customized emojis, and streetwear, all to try and get the cool kids to guzzle down their product. The latest release came out this month as a collaboration with Riot Games' League of Legends, because that game is all the rage. All of the rage that goes straight into my veins as I want to smash my computer screen with my forehead. The point is, the most prominent and easy to find version of the new drink called Coca-Cola Ultimate is the zero sugar version, front and center in the promotional material. The announcement video of the drink only features one bottle with the limited edition flavor, and it's, you guessed it, zero sugar. I was curious, so I went back and revisited all the other Coca-Cola Creation flavors and their ads to see if Coke Zero was as prominent there, and lo and behold, it was in Rosalia's limited edition, as well as going all the way back to Starlight flavor. That was another episode worth watching if you've ever wondered what the taste of outer space is supposed to be. Here's a quick reaction of us tasting it.
Space tastes weird.
Space tastes very weird. Oh, it comes in stages.
Ooh.
It's in stages.
Hold on, folks. Be right back. And we're back.
Even on the official website itself, the most prominent packaging featured was for Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Again, the whole point of these highly interactive creations is to appeal to the younger, hipper Gen Z audience who's looking for something with zero sugar without being called diet. So, what does this all mean for the original? Well, if trends continue down the way they have, eventually Coke sales will start to become overshadowed by the zero sugar variants. Now, Coca-Cola is a company that's almost 100 years old, and they know how to play the long game. This isn't an overnight switch. This is
they all over 100 years old. If they were founded in 1892, well, they would have been 100 in 1992. So, yeah, though, nearing 150 years old.
Smart company with the longest track record in the industry who's hedging their bets in case the whole world goes zero sugar. Right now, Coke Zero Sugar became the 7th best-selling soda in the US in 2021 after growing 13%. And it gained another 11% growth for the last year versus regular Coke with 4%. Even if the shift to zero sugar takes another 20 years to happen in the market, what we can learn about it right now is how well these companies know consumers and how well they know how to market to them, to us. Coke knows that even if you don't want a zero sugar option right now, the more time goes on, the more likely you're going to want to, and they'll be there to crack one open for you that looks and tastes like you never even switched. You can call it good business. You can call it incredibly scary marketing tactics. But one thing Coke has done their darndest to make sure of, they're here to stay. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up. Hey, thanks for having me specifically.
Well, folks, that's the end of today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. The link will be in the description below, and I'll see you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.